listening to the East Texas Banner at easttexasbanner.com. I've got the privilege this morning of sitting down with District Judge 1A, Delinda Gibbs-Walker.
1A of the state of Texas.
1A in the state of Texas.
That's right.
So one of the reasons I wanted to sit down, honestly, is because I have no clue. I've never been in your court, thankfully, you know. But really, I'm just trying to figure out a little bit more about what district judges do. We know you guys exist. You know, I've got a lot of cousins, and they've told me a lot. But at the same time, I want to, you know, really kind of pick your brain about some of the things that you guys are seeing, some of the things that you deal with that maybe people don't know and don't understand, that type of thing. So I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to do this.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'll be glad to help any way I can.
So, okay. So like I say, you know, my cousins have told me a lot, but most people know you guys from the courtroom, okay? They show up, and it's kind of maybe the first time they see you guys, right? What are some unseen responsibilities that a district judge is responsible for?
Are you talking about outside the courtroom?
Well, yes and no. I guess, you know, because sometimes people think that maybe something should go this way, or a district judge should have done this versus that. I guess really the question is, what's the unseen thing that you would like people to know that you guys do that's just not on people's radar?
Well, we have to, first of all, I think that one of the most important things for a district judge is that they be fair and impartial. Okay, that's number one.
Sure.
Fair and impartial. The second thing is that we have to follow the law. So we don't make the law.
Right.
You know, we're tasked with the responsibility of taking the facts as they're presented to us and applying those facts to the law and coming up with the best decision that we can.
Right.
We're human beings. Do we always get it right? Probably not. But I know that from my perspective, it is not from a lack of trying and caring.
Sure.
That kind of thing. We do a lot of things like, obviously, we sit on the bench and we hear cases.
Sure.
So we are and when I say we, myself and Judge Craig Mixon serve Jasper and Newton County. So I serve 3 counties. Jasper, Tyler, and Newton. And we're considered, well, they're in the state of Texas, it's called multi-county general jurisdiction district judges. It's a mouthful.
Wow.
But really what that means, is that we serve more than one county because many judges don't. And then many district judges don't serve more than one county. So, but we're a small rural area, so we serve more than one county, and we hear everything from, on the criminal level, from state jail felonies up to capital murders.
Right.
We hear all domestic relation matters, Craig and I do, Judge Mixon. And then in Tyler County, I serve with Judge Earl Stover. So we sort of split the dockets.
So it's kind of a team effort.
It is, yeah. Both those men and myself just split the
workload.
workload.
Yeah.
And
because there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a whole lot. But anyway, so we hear domestic relation, any kind of like people going through divorce,
right.
Child custody matters, child support matters, adoptions, you know, anything you can imagine with domestic relations. And then we also hear personal injury matters where people are suing one another. We can be the appellate court for certain matters coming out of county court. We have Craig and I, Judge Stover and I have an associate judge that handles like CPS matters. So we don't typically have to handle CPS matters. We can, but we typically do not handle those. Also, we handle, we have an associate judge that takes care of like the attorney general stuff, child support matters. So there's that. But as far as stuff that goes on, we do so much more than just things where we're sitting on the bench.
Sure.
So we have administrative duties, responsibilities. We don't have duties as far as county government is concerned.
Okay.
We don't, people oftentimes think that
There's some sort of association.
Yeah, yes, and there's really not much. We are responsible for appointing the auditor, the county auditor.
Okay.
So we've got a county auditor in Tyler County. We've got a county auditor in Newton County. We've got a county auditor here in Jasper County.
Okay.
So we're responsible for appointing the county auditor, and they typically will serve for 2-year terms. And they're an independent auditor. So once we appoint that person, they've got a responsibility to separate themselves from the county government, because they're sort of in a, I don't know if you'd call it advisory position, but
they are the auditor.
The auditor.
So having the auditor tucked up in the middle of the county government could get a little sketchy.
That's exactly right, and I think the legislature did a great job whenever they did that. Also another thing I didn't know I would have to do whenever I took the bench. In fact, I don't think that I actually was doing it when I first took the bench, but now district judges are responsible for appointing the ARB, the Appraisal Review Board.
Okay.
So that's another thing that we do. We sit on the juvenile board, also the adult probation. So I'm the administrative judge. I believe that's what they call me, the administrative judge, over the First Judicial District of probation, adult probation.
Okay.
Judge Mixon's over juvenile, and I'm over adult. And this is an interesting thing. The First Judicial District probation department actually encompasses more than just Judge Mixon's counties or mine. So that department services Tyler, Jasper, Newton, Sabine, St. Augustine, Shelby County, and it seems like there's one other county that we're about to start servicing. So,
really?
Yes, and so I'm the administrative judge over that. It's a lot of stuff,
Right.
Another thing that people don't realize that we do is, I know that Judge Mixon does the same, but unfortunately, oftentimes in the evenings, our troopers or our game wardens are out on the lakes, and they're out patrolling in the evenings, at night, on the weekends, and they may encounter somebody they think may have a DWI.
Okay.
And so we have to sign oftentimes blood warrants.
Okay.
So we're contacted all hours of the day and night regarding blood warrants. And so we are responsible for that kind of thing.
So I'm sitting here trying to process this and try to figure out how all this fits in a 40-hour work week. And so, because I don't think people realize that. I don't think people understand that this is a 24/7 thing.
It is. It is. I mean, literally, I don't know of any vacation that I've ever taken that I have not worked on the vacation.
On the vacation.
Yes, somehow or another. I'm not talking about maybe having long drawn out hearings, but I have done that.
Sure.
I have had hearings while I've been on vacation. So, because now, especially with the advent of Zoom, which really occurred, that really got big during COVID.
Does that help? I mean, is that?
Yeah, it does. It helps me a lot. Judge Mixon doesn't love Zoom. I don't mind it at all.
Sure.
But he doesn't love it, but he will do it if he needs to.
Right.
But the thing that helps me and him is the travel, because a lot of times what I can do is my coordinator will set me up with just Zoom hearings on a day. Well, I'll have a hearing out of Tyler County, hearing out of Newton County, hearing out of Tyler County, literally all on the same day.
Wow.
And so there's no travel. There's, I'm just hearing one case right behind the next, and that's nice. So I can get a lot of work done like that.
I could see how that would be super helpful.
Yes. Now, sometimes I will say this. I also believe that one of the most important things that a district judge can have is discernment, right? And there's no substitute for sitting with somebody and looking them in the eye
Energy,
and listening to them. And, you can just tell so much more. So if it's a pretty serious case where, I'm going to have to be making a decision about some serious matter, children,
Right. Sure.
then a lot of times I don't want to try to have that on a Zoom hearing unless I just have to.
Right. But there's a lot of more, I won't call them peripheral or minor situation, but maybe lesser weight.
Child support stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
division of property.
Sure.
Just simple visitation matters.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those are easily heard. Just hearings on motions, stuff like that. One thing I think that some people don't even understand is that a district judge has to have been an attorney.
Oh, okay.
So like a county judge, our county judges in these areas, they don't have to have been an attorney, but
Right.
a district judge has to have been an attorney.
I got you.
It helps if they practiced, just different sorts of law. Especially if you're going to be a multi-county general jurisdiction. But you've got judges, district judges in like Jefferson County, who all they hear is family law or criminal law.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, you've got, yes, it's crazy. I mean, to me, it sounds crazy. How do you
Right.
do that? But that's what they do all day long. They only hear, family court matters.
Is it because they have, in Jefferson County, do they have more?
Yes.
Is it just more people?
Yes.
Okay. Or maybe not more district judges?
They have more district judges, but I think their population is.
It's just massive. It's
Sure.
insane.
Sure.
Yeah. So having said that, I can't even wrap my head around what all you're saying. Okay, I'm trying, but I did graduate, but I mean, I'm a little slow, but no. So looking at it, just the time frame, I think would be a major challenge. But what are some of the biggest challenges that you see that you guys are facing right now? Because, I mean, a lot of people talk about case overload. A lot of people talk about, different, budget issues maybe that you guys experience, or even some of the outdated technology. I don't know. I mean, even like with Zoom. I mean, Zoom was awesome specifically for COVID. And I think it kind of woke up, maybe some of the more archaic regions to, hey, this is what we could use this for, type of thing, kind of like texting for the first time. But
I think that is okay. So as far as technology is concerned, I think that it's one of those sorts of things you don't know what you don't have if you've never had it.
Okay.
And so
you're just running along.
I just am fine with, as far as technology is concerned. I know that there are a lot of judges, district judges, that have this thing like where on their desk they have a computer, and like when their court reporter is typing out, you in real time, you can see like responses and stuff like that. Well, we don't have that kind of technology, but I'm going to tell you that I have probably the best court reporter in the world. And so if I didn't hear something somebody said or need to go back and do a check on it, she can pull that up on her computer lickety split.
Wow.
So that's super nice. I can ask for a ruling that I made and have it within minutes because she can email it to me. That's amazing.
That's helpful.
Yes, but as far as, courtroom technology, we're good. We're fine.
Like you say, you don't know what you don't know.
I don't know
right?
what I don't know. And I do know this. Whenever I had not been on the bench very long, and unfortunately we had a horrible murder over in Tyler County where 2 young people were coming out of the church.
Right.
And they were murdered. And it had to do with a visitation situation. In fact, the murder occurred before I took the bench.
Whoa.
And then I wound up transferring that case to transferring venue to Smith County, not Smith County, Bryan.
Okay.
And so I went over there. And now I'm going to tell you that I became very envious very quickly, because over there in that county, the judge who let me use his chambers and use his bench and all of the things, he had a bunch of technology, and the way that they did jury selection was shockingly good. That we just don't have the ability really to do that with the folks, here, the way that jury selection went on. And the other thing, he had his own secretary, his own court reporter, his own
Wow.
coordinator.
Sure.
Like he had an entire staff.
There's a lot more funding.
Yeah, a lot more funding and a lot more staff. But honestly, sometimes, I don't know, my husband always says this, I wouldn't take their money for the trouble. And, sometimes that's the case, but we make it. I mean, we get along. The thing that's hard is that between Judge Mixon and I, the criminal docket is absolutely monstrous.
Yeah.
Monstrous. And
put that in perspective. Maybe there's a way you can put that in perspective.
Well, okay. I don't know. I'm not sure. It changes all the time because we work constantly.
Okay.
But we probably, I would say, our caseload is very large. I don't know, we may have 300 criminal cases, I don't know. And the problem that you've got is just needing to get jury trials for so many people.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult when you only have 2 judges. I mean, you think about it, we have one district courtroom. District courtroom.
Right.
2 district judges. Our DA's office has got a district attorney and sometimes 2 assistant DAs, and then like 3 or 4 secretaries.
Okay.
And that's not a lot of people, to handle
to
what we have.
process all that.
Now, thank the Lord, we typically, we don't see the sort of crime that many other places see.
Sure.
But still, we do have a lot of problems. And the things that burden me the worst are the sexual assaults of children. And those cases, of course, we do everything we can to get those cases, moved.
Right.
Anytime you've got a murder or something like that. And oftentimes, this is another thing I think people don't understand, and that is about our, pleas. Because oftentimes people think, oh, well, that person, they got a plea. They shouldn't have gotten a plea. They should,
Yeah.
Some cases, that's true. But the fact of the matter is, it costs a lot of money to house people in the jail.
Okay.
Costs a lot of money, which it doesn't. There's some cases that just really doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But there's just a lot that people don't understand about pleas and the cost of things and why pleas are taken.
Well, sometimes you guys are up against even what the law is.
Absolutely. The other problem that you've got is that a district judge, we're not involved typically at all in the negotiation of a plea.
Okay.
That's the elected district attorney and the defense lawyer.
Okay.
And I guess oftentimes, if there's a victim involved, I always ask, and I know Judge Mixon does too, has the victim been notified? Have y'all spoken with the victim? Now, does the DA's office have to do exactly what the victim says to do? No. But the victim has much more of a say-so in a lot of the things that go on pleas, whether or not something goes to jury trial, especially as it pertains to sexual assaults of children. So, they have a lot more say-so in stuff like that as far as their voice being heard.
Right.
But a judge is not involved in the process of, now, can we refuse a plea? Yeah, we can. We could refuse a plea. But then what do you do?
So let me see if I understand this correctly. So basically, the DA and whoever the attorney is, the other attorney, they'll get together, figure out what the plea deal is going to be, and then it comes before you guys.
In the end, ultimately,
yes.
In the end, ultimately, what will happen is, and this is typical. Not every case is the same, but typically, the defense lawyer will ask the district attorney's office for a plea offer. They don't all want plea offers, but a lot of times they'll ask for a plea offer. And the DA's office will look at their case. My understanding is they look at the person's criminal history. They'll speak with the victim if there's a victim. Sometimes there's not a victim. but if there's a victim, they'll speak to the victim a lot of times, and then they will, excuse me, make an offer
Okay.
on the case. And if the defense lawyer talked to his client, the client wants to do that, then they will go back and say, yes, we'll take the plea offer. Well, ultimately, they come before either Judge Mixon or myself or Judge Stover, and they'll say, okay, this is the plea deal. This is
Gotcha.
what we've got. And here I, could say, well, I'm not accepting that.
Yeah.
We could say that. But again, that puts the court in the position of basically telling the district attorney that what their case is or should be or could be or
Sure.
whatever. I don't know what the facts of the case are.
Sure. So you have some restrictions there,
Well,
just from a bird's eye view.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know what the facts of the case are for the most part
Right.
on these criminal cases. I know what they tell me,
Right.
but I'm not in a position to investigate the case. So,
Gotcha.
because anyway, it's a long story.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
but
There's just a lot more to it.
It's so much to it.
It's not like you can just, because everybody wants to have an opinion about how something was handled,
Yeah.
and have no or maybe limited context for not just one particular case, but the workload that you guys are under and everybody else is under. There's just a lot to
There's
it.
a lot to
There's
it.
a lot to it.
I'm going to say this too, that since I'm talking, I'm going to say this. People need to come to jury selection. People need to come to grand jury selection. Our district clerk, and you can talk to her about this, but the numbers are terrible as far as people getting notices and just not showing up or not being willing to serve once they do get here. We struggle with that. And
Is that one of the bigger? Is it
That's
one of
a-
the bigger hurdles you guys
yes,
deal with?
that's terrible. I've actually lost complete jury panels before. And like the stars have to align in a certain sort of way
Right.
before you can actually have a jury trial. It's just crazy. And then to lose a panel,
Yeah.
very upsetting. It's very upsetting,
So
financially and otherwise.
yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of
Yes.
moving pieces that have to line
Yes,
up.
and whenever when you can only try a certain number of cases a year,
Mm-hmm.
and that case is ready to go, the DA's office is ready to go, the defense counsel's ready to go, defendant's ready to go, sheriff's office ready to go, or whatever it is.
Right.
It can be the same with a personal injury case.
Right. Right.
But yeah, so my request would be for people to come willingly and serve on the juries and
Gotcha.
be glad to be here.
Well, you heard it there first, ladies and gentlemen. They would appreciate you coming to court.
Yes, yes.
And helping out at least. So tell me this, what safeguards exist to make sure judges remain impartial? And how do you personally maintain that standard?
So a big deal is I've got a partner judge.
Okay.
Okay, and so he's got a partner judge.
Right.
And oftentimes, so a lot of times the cases that you worry about, any kind of impartiality, typically have to do with family law cases.
Okay.
He and I have had, and he has had some different criminal cases that I know this person, and I really don't need to be involved in this. And so we're pretty much the first to say, hey, this is not a case that I need to be messing with. And so it's your own. You have to decide that. You have to look at it and say, hey, I go to church with that person. I probably, this probably wouldn't be a good, this probably wouldn't be a good case for me. Craig, you mind taking this one?
Yeah.
And,
Right.
So there's that. Also, if a person if a person's lawyer or whatever, they file a motion to recuse, it's an immediate. we are to contact our administrative judge, who is our presiding judge. He is in Montgomery County.
Okay.
And so, a person's able to present that to him. He might have to come down and even have a hearing on it. He has done that. Sometimes people use that as a delay tactic or something like that. So we don't allow that to happen.
Right.
But if it's a legitimate thing, then Judge Mixon, myself, Judge Stover, we will be getting down to that lickety split.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. So I think that's mainly how we keep ourselves impartial.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this too. I mean, I've had cases where I actually knew people, and it wasn't any problem for me to be impartial. I mean, you in a small county, you're going to know so many people.
Sure.
And so sometimes you have to also have the, you have to have the guts to just do the right thing, regardless of, without friend or favor is really the thing. And, that's how I feel about it. And I'm not saying I haven't lost some friends, I probably have, but my circle's super small.
Yeah.
And I just don't.
I think one of the things that's interesting to me, just hearing you talk, is it seems like this position, because you are dealing with family law and so many different things, you guys are spread thin across a number of different looks, I guess you might say. One of the things that I've always thought is that, specific to law enforcement, we'll talk about that for a second, but specific to law enforcement, the mental stress a lot of times, I think, is put on the back burner for law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just sitting here listening to you kind of talk about all these details, and I'm sitting here going, how do you go home? And how do you go home? Because I think I know when I have a stressful day and I'm not sitting here responsible for the verdict. You know what I'm saying? I have tough days, and I go home and there's stress on me, and trying to unpack some of it mentally myself. How does that work? Because I mean, granted, that's a wide question, right? I mean, or it's a large question, because everybody deals with stress in their own ways. But when you're dealing with families and in the community and real consequences and those types of things, what is the most difficult part about making those types of decisions?
Okay, so stress in my job, I learned to compartmentalize years ago.
Okay.
Because I did for a living. I prosecuted for a long time.
Okay.
So I've dealt with a lot of the stuff that I'm dealing with now, just on an advocacy side, right?
Gotcha.
Also family law. I mean, I had a thriving family law practice prior to taking the bench. And so I guess I was probably in my 30s when I learned to compartmentalize. You cannot take it home with you. You cannot. And an old lawyer told me a long time ago, and it was a family law case, and I would get very passionate, fight like a crazy person.
Right.
And I had an old lawyer tell me one time, listen, this isn't between you and I. We're going to go home to our families.
Yeah.
We've got to be able to leave this here. And he said, we didn't cause these problems for these people.
Right.
They caused it for themselves. Now, whenever you're talking about kids, though,
sure,
because I'm a mama and a grandma,
right,
and I'm telling you, now that'll get to me so fast.
Yeah.
But you just I have a strong prayer life.
Right.
And I know this whole world's bad.
Yeah.
And so I just have to.
I think the things with the kids would probably be the biggest.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Across the board.
There's
just
no doubt.
the wickedness.
When you just see, just wicked is the absolute word. I mean, the fact that what people can do
Yeah.
to little innocent children
Yeah.
is just shocking.
Yeah.
And frankly, I think it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, across the board, do you think that is the bigger thing that we're dealing with? Because it almost seems like
Yes.
every day
Yes.
you're seeing someone else. If it's not a teacher, or if it's not a preacher that's getting taken down, or all these safe space representatives, if we want to call them safe space representatives, right? I mean, from teaching to preaching to everything in between.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing a lot of people.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't know if that is because now it is, it's with social media and stuff
Sure,
like that,
sure.
we are just being made aware of it,
Right.
or if it's always been that bad.
We're just getting to see it.
Just
this
getting to
time.
see it now. I think that my personal opinion, my personal opinion is that the internet
Yeah.
has just caused us a lot
It's
of problems.
exacerbating that
Well,
thing.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. Back in the day, you didn't have the internet for people to look at and lust over just certain things.
See, that's interesting. It's interesting you bring that up because, I have wondered that myself, because it's almost like, I've heard a number of studies about pornography and online pornography and stuff like that, and it's almost like it's creating like this closet environment for an individual, and then it all kind of blows. I remember back in the day, you had okay, and this is going to say a lot here, right? But I remember back in the day, you would at least have the walk of shame if you were going to go and try to find something pornographic. You'd have to walk into the convenience store. You'd have to speak to an adult. You would have to tell them what you were after. And then they would have the moment where they're going, what in the hell is going on here? And then they would turn around and go get this magazine or whatever covered up with newspaper, right? Because kids couldn't see it or whatever. And they would bring it back. Maybe I'm just speaking from personal experience, but having said
I was going to say, I'm really not sure about all that.
having said that, but it's like now it's right in their hand.
It's in your face.
It's right in your hand.
And the problem is, of course, now you're talking my language because one of my degrees, my first degree is in psychology.
Okay.
And so I have a degree in criminal justice as well. So, it's starts now too
Sure.
at such a young age. People are handing their little 6 and 7-year-old boys
100%.
phones,
Yes.
cell phones, right? Well, that's immediate access to whatever they want to look at.
Yeah.
And if you think that your little 6, 7, 8-year-old boy isn't, or even girls
Exactly.
are not going places they shouldn't go on
Sure.
that phone, you're insane.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely insane.
Right.
And so now I can't remember the latest statistics on, I think it's a high statistic, at least 50% of boys at the age of 8 have already been exposed to pornography.
Yeah.
And it's on the internet.
Sure.
So people just don't, everybody thinks to themselves, my kid wouldn't do that. Everybody thinks that.
Right. But I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, here's the deal. It's, for me, I'm sitting here thinking about this and I'm going, it's almost like with handing this phone off to a child is like just handing them Pandora's box and saying, hey, here you go. If you want absolute exposure on your children, put a phone in their hand. Because, I mean, whenever I'm sitting here seeing statistics that, and this is crazy concept to me, but this speaks to the world we're living in, right? This was a recent statistic that I just saw that was like 1 out of every 8 13 to 18-year-old girl will end up in some level of group sex before they graduate. That is a total byproduct of pornography.
Yeah, it is. And this is another thing that we have seen recently, an expansion of, and that is where men, young men and grown men even,
Right.
are soliciting images from
Yes.
underage girls.
Yes.
And so what they'll do stuff like pretend to be their boyfriend or whatever. Maybe they are their boyfriend.
Right.
I don't know. But they do stuff like they'll tell them, and I'm literally having to sign search warrants about stuff like this. So it's like this is happening in our little counties
Right now.
Guys are this, and I'm generalizing.
Sure,
right?
100%.
This is typically what it is. Guys encouraging a girl to send them a picture that is maybe risque,
Right.
not something
Right.
that she would want anybody to know she sent,
Right.
maybe not nudity, but something risque. And then the guy encouraging her to send something else,
Right.
more something that would be nudity.
Right.
And her saying, no, I'm not going to do that, and then being threatened with the picture that she did send.
Right.
If you don't send me this, everybody's going to see this, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And so in order to not have a picture of themselves sent out,
Right.
they'll send something that is nudity.
Right.
And that, unfortunately, is something that we're seeing a lot of. Never saw anything like
Right.
that in my private practice. You know,
No.
I didn't.
Well, see, and it's almost like it, and I've even heard myself that there are some escalating situations where someone on a kid level, maybe someone messages someone and asks for that type of stuff, and then there's an exchange, but it's anonymous, and then it escalates to threat of exposure, and then request for funds. And I'm sitting here going, this is something that just came across my radar last week. And I'm sitting here going, you have children out here who are not just the exposure to pornography and everything that is vile with humanity out here on the internet, right? Not just that, but exposure from a safety standpoint as well. You know, because I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you take a kid.
Now, I haven't personally, I've not seen that.
You
before,
haven't seen
but-
that piece.
No, I mean maybe in the news or something, but no, I've not.
You
that's
haven't
not run
experienced
across
that.
my
But
desk.
see, to me, I'm sitting here going, okay,
But I can see that.
if a parent knew
Yeah.
that that was even a part of the conversation, you know, I mean, I've known some really weird situations, even like this. You know, it's like, you know, I was talking to somebody here a while back, and their kid had been seeing somebody from a whole nother state by playing Roblox
Yes.
or
Or some,
Fortnite
yeah,
or some
Fortnite.
stupid
Fortnite's a big thing.
some sort of craziness.
Yes.
You know, it's almost like there's so much going on
Yeah,
now that is exposing children.
it's shocking.
It is shocking.
It is shocking.
And I mean, because I remember back in the day, and maybe this just speaks to maybe some naiveness on my part, but I mean, we knew who the pedophiles were. You know, I mean, when you go to family reunion, your mother's like, "Hey, listen, you staying right here with me. You see this, see
Uncle
that."
George,
Yeah,
Uncle George is all.
you just knew. You just knew. It was clear. But now you just don't know. So I guess what would be the last thing, just to kind of wrap this up for everybody, what would be, I had no idea we were going to get on porn, guys, but at the same time, I mean, it is a massive problem.
Sure it
you know
is.
what I'm saying? And so, but I guess what is one of the things that, because you are back up for election,
Sure.
okay? And when is that election actually happen?
The primary will be, I believe, in March.
Like
And
March
then-
3rd, somewhere
I
in there?
think. And then the general election of 26.
Okay.
And the general election being November 26.
Okay.
So
okay. And so right now you're running unopposed.
I'm running unopposed. Right.
Well, there you go.
Praise the
Easy
Lord.
enough. There you go. That's right. So what's one thing that you would like to finish up with? Just letting the people know kind of your and we can tidy that up.
So,
This bottom one,
no,
number 10,
9.
number 9. Okay. All right. What is the most difficult part about making decisions specific to real families?
Right. So that's the hardest part of my job because, so especially when it comes to family law cases, you're going to hurt. Somebody's getting hurt. You know, when you're talking about kids,
Right.
somebody's children, somebody's getting hurt.
Right.
And most of the time, if I wind up having to make the decision, now I tell people a lot of times, listen, I'm the government. And I heard Judge Golden say this, right. And it's true. He said, I'm the government. I'm not coming trying to get in your business. You're asking me to get in your business.
Right.
And so here I am.
Yeah.
I would rather not be in people's business, really. But if somebody comes and asks me, then I'm bound to make a decision. It's my job. And do it as fairly and impartially and in a child's best interest as I can possibly do. The hardest part is not 1,000% knowing that I'm right. Okay, because anybody's apt to be wrong. You know, that's just life. That's humanity. But also knowing that somebody's going to be hurt.
Right.
And the law, you know, you take grandparents, for example. I mean, the law is just harsh when it comes to, you know, if people have fallen outs with the grandparents, and a grandparent was pretty involved, and then they're not. That's hard, you know. And people think, okay, well, the judge can just let me see this child whenever I want. Well, that's just not true. You know, the law has certain restrictions that I have to follow. Judge Mixon has followed. So I think that is probably what people don't see. They think, oh, well, I'm just making, or the judge is just making some decision. Yeah. And
feel like you're more the messenger in the process.
Yes, and it's hard.
Yeah.
But
do you feel like, you know, because I've listened to this for a number of years about how maybe, and I don't know how dads are handled in these types of situations. Yeah. Is that a big deal? I mean, the reason I ask is because it almost seems like, you know, there's a generalized gripe about that. Yeah. It seems like
there's some.
And I'm not saying with you specifically. I'm just saying across the board. Is that kind of a thing?
That is. It is. People. There's you know, just different, I guess, groups that have banded together, who maybe feel like men sort of get the shaft when it comes to kids and stuff like that.
Do you feel like that happens?
Do I feel like that happens? The shaft? I mean, when I was in private practice, I'm not going to say like as a judge. I'm going to say when I was in private practice, and this is just the fact. This is how it was then. Right. I've been on the bench now for, I guess, going on 12 years, but or 11 years. I'll start 12. But when I was in private practice, what I found, probably about 90 to 95% of the time, men didn't typically seek custody of children like where, oh, I'm going to get custody of my child. Men typically did not do that unless there was a real big reason. Typically.
Like say the
mom
was
stuff like that. Typically it was because, you know, mom just wasn't the best parent out there, right?
Gotcha.
So that's how it used to be. And I think that that is a perception probably even today that that men typically don't seek custody unless, when I say custody, I'm not talking about seeking joint managed conservatorship and getting their visitation, stuff like that. I'm talking about where they believe they should raise the child, you know, a greater percent of the time.
Right.
But what you have now is the law is that whenever people divorce, unless the court finds that there's a major reason, then parents get joint managed conservator. Okay. So
is
then
that
the
like
question,
a 50-50 thing
not necessarily. It's not necessarily 50% of the time.
Okay.
It's joint managed conservatorship. In other words, it's pretty much the same parental rights.
Okay.
Right. But we have in the state of Texas have what they call expanded visitation. So typically, a person who does not have primary custody and they have, just visitation, we call it possessory conservatorship. A person who has possessory conservatorship will get the child from the time school is out on a Thursday until school resumes on a Monday morning.
Okay.
Every first, third, and fifth weekends. So I want to believe that comes out to, I used to know, but I think it's around 40% of the time, 40 something. So the law already is, I'm not saying it's 50-50, okay?
Right.
But it is, they have it
As close as possible.
yeah, where the possessory conservator does have, quite a bit of access. A lot of times in the area that we live in, you don't do till school resumes on Monday morning. A lot of times it's primarily because kids need to, get home. The other parent lives, further away, like
Right.
30 minutes from school or something like that.
Sure.
So it's a lot harder. And all of that comes into play whenever you make these, these decisions. But I don't know. I think, I don't know if I went back and figured up the numbers. I mean, I think I don't do it like that.
Yeah. It's not like you're having to make a quota, right?
No.
So
No.
But I mean, the reason I even bring that up is because, there's a lot of people out here when they talk about family, family law and that type of thing. There's a sentiment that maybe the men get a little bit of less credit than maybe they should.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but once again, you guys aren't the one putting in legislation. That's not y'all's gig.
No, it is not. And I mean, I think kids need to be stable too, though.
Sure.
During a week, it's a lot of times it's harder. And it's one of the things we're supposed to consider whenever you consider stuff like 50-50 is whether or not the parents are cooperative and can be cooperative.
Sure.
The other issue is how close do you live
Right.
to one another? I mean, if
proximity.
if you're talking about a parent that lives in, say, Brooklyn, Texas, and their kid goes to school at Brooklyn ISD, and the possessory conservator lives, let's say, Jefferson County,
Right.
or even Hardin County, you're talking about a good 45-minute drive back and forth to school if the child goes to school. And, again, that's hard on a child.
Yeah.
Should the child have as much access to the parent as possible? Absolutely.
Is that kind of, so I'm guessing that's kind of the idea, is to position the situation that what's best for the child.
Yes.
Instead of what's best for the parents, right? Because they're the ones who are breaking.
1,000%.
Okay, got it. Got it.
I
Good
mean,
enough.
I don't,
Yeah.
Frankly.
So really at the end of the day, you're sitting here going, you're kind of splitting hairs a little bit because, or not you, but I'm just saying the people who are saying, the dads don't get it's just it is part of the divorce process.
It is.
And it's unfortunate.
And it's unfortunate. And it's also,
and that's not every case.
No.
Some cases are very.
some cases people live near one another,
Right.
and they all get along, and the
Right.
kids go 50. I mean,
Sure.
there's that.
But there's a lot of circumstances around the situation.
There's so much. I mean, you get kids that are 9, 10 years old, and they've gone to school in one place,
Yeah.
their whole life,
Sure.
and that's where all their friends are. And then
Where their network is.
Their network and their teachers, and they're very comfortable. And you got kids that you talk about them going through a divorce, and they're already being uprooted. Just their
Crushed.
whole world is just shifted beneath them, and then you want to keep them as stable as possible.
Yeah. It makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, because even myself, I don't fancy myself a superior intellect, but at the same time, looking at this situation, I'm sitting here going, well, yeah, I can see how that is. But I mean, if the main priority in a divorce situation is the child, that outside of splitting up who gets, we're splitting this car versus that car, that type of thing, The child is the bigger issue.
So that, and I guess that's my whole thing is I laser focus on a kid. Okay. Laser focus. I'm not being mean.
Right.
But I frankly don't really care. I mean, if, you
don't care what the details are between the two
adults. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying when I tell you the hardest part of my job is knowing that somebody's going to probably get hurt.
Yeah.
I don't usually order a lot of 50-50.
Gotcha.
I just don't typically do it. Most of the time, if people are going to do 50-50, they work it out between themselves. I mean, you see a lot of that. But I'm laser focused.
Gotcha.
And the circumstances of every single child is different.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. I do, just saying, that's how it is. Every family is different. Every child is different. And you cannot cookie cutter it, which is, why I don't, the legislature changing the family code every other year is a struggle.
Sure. Yeah, because it almost seems like, well, for my cousin, you did this, but for me, you're doing this. It seems like you're the one who's on the hook for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When it's actually, there's legislation involved.
Well, there's legislation, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to shy away from a decision I make.
Right.
If I make a decision, then, I make that decision.
Yeah.
But I can promise you this. If I make a decision about a family,
right,
I can promise you that my major number one concern is a child. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about division of property,
yeah,
that's a different subject.
You're talking about no feelings. You're talking about,
yeah, that's just
the property's didn't have its life upended.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the thing that people get real bent out of shape about, of course, as they should, are the children.
Yeah.
So, and I know that, different. Somebody told me too a long time ago that, whenever you make a ruling, you're going to, half the people are going to love you, half the people are going to hate you. So
sure.
That's, and I don't know.
It's part of it.
I don't even really believe that, though. I think as long as people believe and understand that you really are being fair, as
right,
fair as you can be, most people don't get angry. They just want to know that they got their day in court,
right,
and that somebody's listening to them,
yeah, and
that it was fair.
And I think that's one of the big things. I think because we're all so starved for integrity, to actually stand before a judge and know that they're being heard. I think that is a bigger thing, even more than the likes, dislikes. It's more of a thing, you know what? I believe she operated with integrity. Did it work out in my favor? No. But at the same time, I know there was some integrity behind the decision you made.
That's exactly right. And I that's what I want every time. And if I don't think I can do that, then if Judge Mixon can do the case, or we'll get a visiting judge if we need to. If neither one of us can do it, we'll get a visiting judge. So that's, I think that's a big deal.
Judge Walker, I appreciate your time.
All right.
And I really do, because, I've learned a lot. I'm sitting here going, man, once again, I'm still kind of caught up on the scheduling, how things are scheduled. But at the same time, I do really appreciate you taking time with me.
Well, and let me give a shout out to my court coordinator. So Melissa Stark, she is my coordinator. So
right,
she tells me where to go and what to do. And she's also Judge Mixon's coordinator.
Okay.
And he's got Jasper County, Jasper County, Newton County, Sabine, and St. Augustine counties.
Yeah.
So she's a coordinator over all of those counties. And that's what I was saying a while ago. A lot of judges will have, their own coordinators. They've got their own secretaries, their own legal clerks, all kinds of stuff. But I'm not envious. But Melissa,
right,
man,
takes care of business.
She tends to business.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
And so it's wonderful having somebody to coordinate, those schedules like that.
It's great to have talented people when you're underfunded and undermanned, right?
Yes, it's imperative. I mean, yeah. So anyway, but I have no complaints
Awesome.
about my job or
Yeah.
finance. I don't even know if I have a budget.
Yeah.
I know. I think I do, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't.
Well, once again, like I say, I really appreciate you sitting down, taking time with me, and good luck in the primary.
Thank you, and thank you very much for asking me
Yes, ma'am.
to sit down. And if you want to see a copy of the court schedule, like one of my criminal days,
Right.
if you want to see something interesting, then come to one of my criminal days.
That'd be great. We'll do that.
Okay.